Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, October 16th, 2025. I am Annika Spalding, the Community Relations Director here at the Amarillo Little Theater. And this is Thursdays at 3, where I go live every single Thursday to get you caught up on what's happening this week at ALT. This season, Thursdays at 3 is very generously sponsored by our good friends at Realty Central Services. Cindy Bulla is the owner and broker of Realty Central and is a longtime champion of ALT. So if you need real estate service and you love ALT, consider heading over to Amarillo.Real Estate and using Realty Central Services. Guess what? It is preview night for Misery, running tonight through October 26th at the ALT Adventure Space. This is a sold out run. So if you missed your chance, we are so sorry. But let's use this opportunity to discuss ALT season tickets. Okay, let's talk about those. This is a perfect example of why purchasing your season tickets is so beneficial. Misery was almost entirely sold out after tickets had only been on sale to the public for 4 days. Just 4 days. So if you're not currently an ALT member, may I ask why? Not only are you going to save money on your tickets, but season ticket holders have the opportunity to reserve your tickets at least 1 week in advance of the general public. So if you know you're going to be purchasing at least 4 tickets sometime this season at any point for any show that might sound good to you, then season tickets are definitely for you. We have packages, like I said, for as few as 4 tickets. So get your discount and take advantage of early ticket reservations. Again, for a show like this, just like with Cuckoo's Nest, just like with Frozen, Misery is another very well-known title. These shows are selling out so quickly. Like I said, tickets were only on sale to the public for 4 days, and the show was basically completely sold out. We had to add a matinee, then that sold out. So season ticket holders have a huge advantage, not just because they're saving money on their tickets, but because you can reserve way earlier than everybody else, which pretty much guarantees you a spot in one of the shows. So I could go on and on about that. It's the greatest deal in town. You can reserve your season tickets all the way up until New Year's Eve, December 31st. They make great Christmas gifts, out-of-the-box gifts for theater lovers in your life. If there's someone you know who you're just getting to know, maybe you met them through church, work, school, what have you, and you want to help get them involved in the community, maybe people who just moved here who need a community of people who love the same things that they love or who are arts lovers in general, ALT season tickets are a great purchase. Also, because if you can only purchase 4 tickets, if you only want 4 tickets to give as a gift, then it makes them season ticket holders. They can use the 4 tickets to come see one show, and then we'll hook them in, and then they can come back again and again and again. That's how we do it at ALT. You get hooked really quickly. You'd be shocked how quickly you could get hooked at ALT. So consider being a season ticket holder. We would love to have you in the fold. And if you're a season ticket holder, you won't miss out on great shows like Misery that sold out in 4 days. A note to our volunteers regarding ushering and concessions. Let me put that up here. For Misery, Lissa needs 1 more volunteer for Friday and 2 more for Sunday. A reminder that there is no intermission for this show, so everything we need you to do will happen before the show begins, which is a great perk. A reminder that if you volunteer to help with ushering and concessions, you have the opportunity to see the show that evening for free. If you will be seeing the show that evening, Lissa will make sure that you have time to get to your seat before the show begins. And definitely don't forget about this. This is a perfect show for a talkback. We will be hosting our Ovation Series talkback event immediately following the performance this Sunday, October 19th. It's going to be about 4:30. You're going to want to be here about 4:30 for that. Whether or not you have tickets to the show that day, come on out to this completely free event. Grab a cup of Palace coffee. We love our Palace coffee, and listen to the cast do a deep dive on all the behind the scenes info for the show. If there is any show to attend the talkback, it's for Misery. There is so much that goes into a show like this, between the fight choreography, the props, the blood, the process with the actors and the production team, and all of the things that go into putting together an incredible show like this. You're going to want to know the behind the scenes stuff. You can even ask the cast questions, which is always so much fun to get to know how they arrived at their characters, what it was like in rehearsals. There's just so many intricate things that go into a show like this. It's only a 3-person cast. It's going to be a really interesting talkback. ALT talkbacks are always so interesting. The atmosphere is really relaxed. Don't feel like you have to dress up. Come as you are. get a cup of Palace coffee and just come hang out with us. It's going to be so great. It's just really cool to get kind of a sneak peek behind the curtain. Special thanks to Kevin and Roxanne Ball, who so generously sponsor all of our talkbacks here at ALT. We love you guys. So come out and join us for the Ovation Series Talkback event this Sunday, again, about 4:30 at the ALT Adventure Space. That's at 2751 Civic Circle. And also this Saturday, we will be having a build call for Ragtime at the Alan Shankles main stage beginning at 10 a.m. That's at 2019 Civic Circle. We are looking for people to help with building and painting. Here's a note: the painting will require being on a lift. So if you are someone who is not comfortable with heights, this round of painting will not be for you. You will have to be on a lift in order to help with that. But if you can come out for that, we would absolutely love it. If you are available to do that and can stay for lunch, make sure you contact our volunteer coordinator, Lissa Guerin, at the information you see on your screen to RSVP for lunch. We want to make sure we have enough food to feed everybody who's willing to donate their time this Saturday to come and help with that. And speaking of Ragtime, I'm so excited about this show. I am also in this show, so I'm really, really pumped about it. Tickets will be going on sale to members on Monday, October 20th. That's this coming Monday at 10 a.m., so be ready. Ragtime is the first show of our season that isn't super well known, so I would really love to tell you about it if I could. It's set at the turn of the 20th century in New York, where times were volatile, kind of like the time we're in right now. The musical weaves together three American stories: one of a stifled upper-class wife, a determined Jewish immigrant, and a Harlem musician, all united by their belief in the promise of the American dream. This show tackles the contradictions between wealth and poverty, freedom and prejudice, and what it means to be an American. It's such an amazing show. I cannot emphasize that enough. Ragtime is also going to feature a 25-piece orchestra right there on stage with us, and will be a highlight of the season for sure. I'm not just saying that because I am incredibly biased. It's going to be so fantastic. Ragtime also won the 1998 Tony for Best Book of a Musical, Best Orchestrations, and Best Original Score. So it has that going for it. Do not miss Ragtime. Again, those tickets are going to go on sale to ALT members. Become a member. You have until December 31st to become a member on Monday the 20th, and will go on sale to the public the following Monday. So get your tickets for Ragtime. I also want to chat really quickly, if I could, about our Sponsor a Seat campaign. We are so excited about this campaign that we kicked off just a couple of months ago. You have your chance to make your mark on the Alan Shankles main stage. This is such a historic space, and we wanted a chance for people who love this place, have memories here, have history here, who've seen shows, fallen in love with theater here. We just want all of you to have a chance to leave your mark on this incredible space. And you can do that by sponsoring a seat here at the Alan Shankles main stage, a $250 donation, which can be given all at once or in 5 increments of $50. Try to make that accessible for everybody to do that. Can get you a plaque on the armrest of the seat of your choice. Those seats are going quickly, so if there is a specific seat you'd like, contact us sooner than later. You can contact the box office or email me, and it will be there forever. You will have your mark. You can dedicate it to a loved one who's passed on. You can dedicate it to a loved one who's still here, your family, whatever you want to do, we can do that for you. And that donation will go to help the theater in our day-to-day operations. It takes a lot to keep a place like this running. We have a huge season with 11 shows per season, and we are inching up on our centennial year. This is our 98th season. So this fundraising event that we're doing, that will just keep on going until we sponsor all of the seats. There are 453 seats in this main stage, so we want to get all of them sponsored if we could. Such a great fundraiser for the theater. That money is going to go a really, really long way. If you're interested in doing that, please contact us here at the theater. Again, you can contact the box office. You can also email me. I can stick my email right up here on the screen. I can help you with whatever you need. And we would appreciate that so much. We thank everybody who's already sponsored a seat here at the Alan Shankles main stage. We've already got our first round of plaques ready to go on the seats. They look absolutely beautiful. So if you have purchased a seat here and are coming to Ragtime, you will be able to mill through and hopefully find your seat with your plaque. Take a picture with it, post it on social media. We would absolutely love that. It's just a really great way to support the theater and to make your mark on this historic building. So thank you to everyone who's done that so far. And don't forget to sponsor a seat. It would make a great Christmas gift if you have a senior who's graduating, who's been in the academy. It would be such a great senior gift. We did that years and years ago when I graduated, and I absolutely loved mine. So consider that if you're able and willing. We would appreciate that so, so much. And let's keep it moving with our volunteer of the week. All right, the picture has not loaded for some reason, but our volunteer this week is Jeff Brain. No, it is here. Here it is. Congratulations to Jeff Brain, pictured here with his beautiful wife, Renee, and our good friend, Gabe Sherman. We love Jeff so, so much. Jeff is always so incredibly helpful here at ALT, and the last few weeks have been absolutely no different. Jeff helped with the last 2 work calls for Misery and has been helping Noah with lights for Misery as well. He is a model board member and volunteer, and we are so, so grateful to have him on board. Thank you so much, Jeff, for all you do. We love you around here, and we're so, so grateful. And let's keep it going with some breaking Broadway news. All right, I'm using this segment once again to celebrate our former Academy student, Tavy Scholes, who made his Broadway debut as the genie in Aladdin this past Tuesday. And Jason and Harrison were both there to cheer him on. There's a picture of Jason and Tavy there, and Jason and Tavy right after the show. Tavy is the living embodiment of what it looks like to follow your dreams, and we could not be more proud of him. Keep an eye on Tavy because this is only the beginning for him. Tavy, we love you so, so much. And in pure Jason Crespin fashion, he was just casually walking down the street and happened to notice Sarah Bareilles and Celia Keenan Bolger just sitting al fresco having lunch. He had met them both before and asked them to make a video celebrating Tavy's Broadway debut. And here's what happened next.
Hi, Tavy. Break all the legs tonight. We're so proud of you.
Happy Broadway debut. Welcome.
Mwah.
Come on. So, so exciting. I'm always really impressed with Jason's ability to recognize when you're seeing someone so completely out of context. Jason is able to rifle through all of his little brain cells and figure out who that person is. And it's not like 5 hours later. It would take me a while to be like, oh, it was that person. And he knows right away, walks right past them. And not only that, goes up to them and has them make a video that, of course, Tavy can treasure for forever and ever and ever. So I just thought that was so lovely. Had to share that. Our good friend Michelle is here. Michelle, we love you so much. Having so much fun in rehearsals with you during ragtime. I'm so glad you're in the show. And Vanessa says, late because of a meeting. Hey, friend, you look beautiful as usual. Yay, ragtime. Thank you so much, Vanessa. I'm always so glad that you're here. And Jeff is here. We're so grateful for you, Jeff. I feel like every time I turn a corner, you're here helping us with something else. You're just unbelievable. You're so inspirational. I'm just so grateful as a staff member here. I'm so grateful to you for all of the work that you commit to ALT, the ideas that you have behind the scenes that you put through with the board that we try to implement. We're just very grateful for you. You're so selfless and helpful and always willing. I definitely appreciate all of your help with New Year's Eve last year. We just love you and Renee, and we're so grateful to have you here as part of the team. So congratulations on being our volunteer of the week. Vanessa says, Jeff is the best. Love always. Yes, he absolutely is. And just so you guys know, I am always excited to chat with my next guest. I'm so happy to welcome him back to Thursdays at 3. A special hello to my friend Patrick Burns. Hi, Patrick.
What is going on, Annika? It's always good to be here with you.
Oh, I'm so happy to chat with you. First of all, let's talk about Misery. Patrick is one of 3 cast members involved in Misery over at the Adventure Space, having preview night tonight. I want to know how this week has been, specifically with a show like Misery, and what are you feeling leading up to preview night tonight?
Yeah, I'm really excited going up to preview night. So we've had a couple of really good rehearsals leading up to an audience. And so you get to that point in the show in Tech Week, they add in a few extra technical elements. And so things could potentially be a little rocky, that Sunday night to Monday night, whenever they add lights and sound and cues. And And so, that makes you a little bit apprehensive.
Yeah.
But you get through it, you get your lines, and you start adding those pieces together. And Tuesday night, we had such a solid run. Like it just felt real and connected. Once, the lights go down and the audience is in black versus it being full house lights whenever, you're doing rehearsals, it makes you lock in. And so
Yeah.
with it being such a small cast, I mean, don't want to ruin anything, but I don't get to work with Bobby as Buster, very often in the show. It's me and Kayla as Annie in the majority of the show. And so there was, from the jump, whenever she, comes into the room, I just see her face and that's it. And that is how I stayed locked in, for the entire, rest of the rehearsal process. And so
Mhm.
she's just been such a dream to work with, to kind of play off of. And I think we've really gelled together over the past couple days.
Mhm.
Obviously there's going to be things that come up, you add new technical things, you have, smoke
Sure.
and fire and all that kind of stuff that comes into it. And so you're thinking through other parts besides just lines and delivery,
Yeah.
and so that can potentially pull you out of it. But thankfully we've all been, supporting each other and sticking with it. And so it's been a really good process. Joe has been a great director for,
Mhm.
collaboration as far as like moments that don't feel right. I've actually been able to go to her and talk to her a little bit, to kind of figure out who Paul is as a character.
Yeah.
My viewpoint, her viewpoint, and trying to find that kind of middle ground to kind of, present Paul that we think is going to be the most honest Paul, to this
Yeah.
audience. And so it gets to that point as an actor where you're just excited. And I've been in shows where I was terrified going into, preview night and opening nights, just because I didn't feel as prepared. But
Yeah.
because this is such a small cast and a small crew coming together, we've been there from the get go together. I mean, 4 nights a week, for 5 weeks, 6 weeks of this
Mhm.
process, you get to lock in. And
Yeah.
so it's been a work. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's
Sure.
definitely been a pretty big work in rehearsal and before rehearsal, after rehearsal, just trying to stay with it. But I'm really excited for an audience to see this show. I think
I
they're
am
gonna
s
love it.
I'm so excited to hear that. I've gotten the opportunity to work with Kayla a couple times on stage, and I just have to say, she is someone, when you talk about being locked in, Kayla
Mhm.
Fuller is there from the moment she steps into the theater, really. And on top of that, just having shared dressing rooms and stuff with her, such a fun time, just
Mhm.
a good time all around, loves the theater, is so good at what she does. And I am so personally so excited to see the both of you and your chemistry on stage together, because you're also someone who locks in and loves this place. And to have both of you on stage, I just feel like, and of course, wonderful Bobby McCauley. I just think having all of you on stage, knowing how much all of you love the theater, knowing how committed all three of you are when you do a project, I think on stage it's going to be magic. I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So, yeah, hopefully everyone got their tickets, because it
Yeah.
is sold out. So,
Yeah.
definitely standbys are a thing. So, some people can't make it. So please come early if you definitely want to come see the show.
Mhm.
But we're gonna put it on for everybody and have as good of a time as we can presenting
Right.
Misery. So
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Okay. So you play author Paul Sheldon in the
I do.
show. I also happen to be good friends with you and know you personally. Now, because of that, I know how, like I said before, how wholeheartedly you commit yourself to a role when you're cast in something. I also know that you're someone who zeroes in on the humanity of a person and is curious what makes someone tick, whether that's on stage or in real life. I've seen this in how you and your wife Crystal operate Palace Coffee, centered on kindness, inclusiveness, and of course great coffee. But you did this in your most recent role in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You took the small role of Scanlan, and in my opinion, because you created a full person with Scanlan, not just presented someone who had a handful of lines and was just featured here and there. Scanlan was a full person. He was a truly memorable character, in my opinion. So tell us about Paul, who he is, and what drew you to audition for him.
Yeah, well, first of all, let me say I appreciate, the viewpoint of what we were able to do for Scanlan and what Cuckoo's Nest was. It became a true ensemble
Yeah,
cast, with that. And so everyone that got to be the patients, all the way up to Hugh, who got to play, the lead in that show. It's a lot, going into it. So I'm gonna lean into my nerd side for a second.
yeah,
I am someone that enjoys playing tabletop games, Dungeons and Dragons.
mhm,
I had a chance to to play that with some actors from WT back whenever Palace first opened. And we had like an 8-year campaign. And the thing I loved about doing those kind of games is you get to create a character and you get to create your own backstory behind it. And so, believe it or not, that actually helped inform me as an actor on what to do whenever you get cast in a role, or even when you're thinking about a role. Because to be grounded and find honesty in your performance, you've got to find motivation. It can't just be what's on a page. It's got to be, why are they doing this? When you're blocking, it's like, okay, why am I going over here? But when you're delivering lines, okay, what's causing them to actually say that line? Like, where's the emotion coming from? And so that's some of the joy that I find in the process, because I love putting the show on, but I really love that 6 weeks of work. And even, the week or two before, when I'm deciding to audition, is, okay, who is this person? What are they going through? And Paul as a character has gone through a lot. Now, granted, you could just look at him and go, oh, well, he's a successful writer. He's this guy that's a jet set in New York City. And so, okay, he's just this kind of this one note character, big, braggadocious, maybe a little condescending. While that might be there, I think there's a lot of underlying things. I think most characters that develop naturally, you find the layers to them. And so that was my challenge with this. And the good news about Misery is that this is a previous work that's not just a play. It's not just a movie, but it's a work from Stephen King. And it's a very personal work from Stephen King. And so there was a wealth of information that I could do some research on. And so I got a chance to really read quite a bit about that. Went down some YouTube rabbit holes as well, because that's always fun to do late at night. And really got to see things through the perspective of the actual author of Stephen King. And Paul is a type and a shadow of Stephen King. Like, he wrote that as a proxy to himself. When he wrote Misery, he wrote it from a place where he just wrote his first non-horror book called, I think it was The Green Dragon, potentially, or Eyes of the Dragon. And it was a fantasy work, and his fandom did not appreciate it. They actually kind of rebelled against him and said, stick to horror, buddy. Like, that's what you do. And so he felt trapped that, okay, he's created this career for himself, but then he basically became a one-note person. And so he wanted to stretch himself, and then his fandom didn't allow that. He also was in the middle of his famous drug addiction. He enjoyed, having powder up his nose a little bit more than, most people. And so he was in the throes of that. And so he was questioning himself of, if I give this part of myself up, the addiction up, am I going to be less of a writer? Is this my creative process that I need? And so he was in this turmoil moment. And that's whenever Misery came to him. And Annie represents to him, as the author of the book, it represents that addiction and that feeling trapped from a fandom that kind of keeps you to do exactly what they want you to do. And I think we all can kind of feel that from time to time. We create the image that the world, perceives of us.
Sure.
And sometimes that image is something that we get trapped in. And so there's that moment. And starting this whole, process off with Paul from the accident forward, he talks about this book that he just finished writing that was a struggle for him. And that was kind of his moment of clarification for himself, of like trying to find out who he was. But little did he know that he needed a lot more world around him and in a situation like this to really push him towards a different person. He needed something that was traumatic. And so that's what this work really is. And so hopefully by the end of the show, people are going to be able to see the arcs of multiple characters. Annie is a tremendous character, one of the greatest villains in movie history. Obviously, Kathy Bates played her famously and got an Oscar for it. But we really wanted to come through, and Joe really wanted to, as a director, showcase the humanity. It is October, it is spooky season, and it is Stephen King. And so when you have people that just see those few elements, are like, oh, great, a horror thing, coming into ALT. So let's go see something scary. Well, there's so much more depth to it than just the violence. There's so much more depth to it as characters. And so we really wanted to explore that. And that's been the fun process overall, was bringing our own concepts to it, but then also being able to play off of each other in this process. And it's brought so much more, like I said, depth to the work.
Definitely. I love finding the humanity in characters, because that's such a great point, because it could be so one note. You think of a villain, or you think of a hero, and it can be so flat without finding out. Even heroes have their dark sides, and even villains have their human sides. And so I love hearing that. It makes me even more excited to see the show, knowing that those volunteers are there.
Yeah, we've also had some really great, moments with some outside people that have come in to help be a part of the process.
Mhm.
Callie Hesick from WT, she came in and we're her capstone. I hope I can say this. Her capstone project for some work that she did this summer on mental health
Yeah,
and mental health within the theater. And so she's been there from day one from the table read for us to kind of help us inform kind of our viewpoints on what these characters might have really been going through. I
Mhm.
know her and Joe and Kayla worked, at the very beginning to kind of help diagnose maybe what Amy is going through mentally,
Yeah,
whether there's some deficiencies or things going on there. And that helped inform some of the way that we act on stage together.
for
Obviously,
sure.
Paul's been in captivity for, 3 months, 4 months. And so what does that look like? And so we've had those conversations of, is there Stockholm syndrome going on? Is there other moments like what's his desperation? What's it like to be violently, attacked and then come out of it? And so she's been a huge support to us. And then of course we have the great Stephen Crandall, who has come in and done fight choreo with his assistant
Yeah.
Angelica, which was a student of his, and has brought some realism to some pretty violent moments.
Mm.
But hopefully it makes it real, but not campy and overdone.
Yeah.
Because working with blood, working with violence, working with fake props and sledgehammers and typewriters, we could just lean into that and just be like, okay, that's going to be the draw, is just the violence.
Mhm.
And while it's an important part of the story, it's not the story.
Yeah.
These are desperate people in desperate moments having to do desperate acts.
Mhm.
And so we want people to make sure they feel why they're desperate, get to that place. And if the
Yeah.
audience is there with us, which an hour and 50 minutes, no intermission, you have no choice. You're locked in from the time the curtain speech goes to the time that we get to come and take our bows. Our job is to make sure that you're engaged, and
Yeah.
that to me is one of my favorite things about this show and the adventure space at large. I get to be right there with the audience. I get to hear them breathe. I get to hear them gasp, and I never get to leave the stage. So I'm right there with you. So the hour and 50 that you're there with us, I'm right there. Don't worry. So
So exciting. Alex Barrera says, I am so pumped for Misery. Auditions were so good and the set looks amazing. Crossing my fingers for a ticket. Congrats on a sold out show.
that's great.
Okay, so you mentioned the fight choreography that Stephen Crandall created. Of course, Jana Lopez serving as fight captain. Can you tell us
Mhm.
about that process that you and Kayla working with him and what it demands of you on stage without
Yeah.
giving too much away?
Sure. First and foremost, it demands honesty and connection.
Mhm.
We've got to trust each other. I mean, I have a real typewriter that I went and picked out on 6th Street a few
Mhm.
weeks ago, that is not light, and I've literally got to swing it at her head. And so there has to be a level of trust that we have with each other, and the safety aspect of what Steven's been able to dial in. Thankfully, the sledgehammer is not a real 12-pound sledgehammer. That would have been a little bit more of a scary thing to have happen as well. I
Yeah.
don't mean to kind of change people's perspective of that, but finding the safe ways of doing things and,
Mhm.
and finding the honesty in it is important. Steven is a stickler. I mean, Janet comes out and we have our fight call at 6:30 on the dot. And all of our violent moments, whether it's a one-person violent moment to two people, um, we have to run them, and we have to run them at safe speed at 30%, 50%, and then we get up to show speed just to make sure that we're comfortable together.
Right.
And that's something that I've done other shows that wasn't really necessarily a part of the process. And over the time that the theater's grown, that's been something that's been important. This is the second time I worked with Steven for fight choreo. The
Mhm.
first time was sweat, seeing people get thrown over tables, me getting hit in the head with a bat. I've also had to watch someone swing a sledgehammer at my son's head in Skull and Connemara, which was Jeff. And so the violence is part of the theater. It's storytelling, but
Yeah.
finding a way to do it safely to where people trust each other, and then
Yeah.
we can check out at the very end to make sure that everything was okay, that we're
Mhm.
not taking that with us, because our bodies are getting fight and flight response. Like my heart races,
Yeah.
delivering these lines and feeling these emotions. It's real, and so you got to do it as safely as possible. You
Yeah.
can't let your emotion and energy get away from you, because that's when the unsafe moments happen. And so it's
Right.
learning how to stay in control while doing the action and still making it believable to the audience.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, I want to ask you about this because we all know that Stephen King is the king of horror. Although that genre might not be everyone's cup of tea,
Right.
why do you think it's important to tell stories like Misery? And what would you say is the overall message of the show?
Ooh, that's a good question, Arnica. Um, so first and foremost, why is it important to have shows like this in the theater setting?
Hmm.
One, I think audiences need a release.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think whether there's joyous release, that happens in shows, to where you get to celebrate with the people on stage and you get to feel good about it.
Hmm.
I think sometimes with the violent moments, that happen on stage, there is a carnal release that happens to us. That as an audience member, being a part of that, there's something that happens, and so I think it's important for the theater to be a part of all aspects of it. I tend to lean. I don't know if you noticed this about the shows I tend to choose. I tend to lean into the ones that are a little bit more grounded and real, and potentially have some of that violence to it, and some of that realism and argumentative kind of spirit that's at the center of it. That's just my style. So I'm thankful that ALT provides a place for us to do that. I'm thankful that we have the adventure space, where it is a showcase for pieces that maybe would miss the main stage.
Yeah.
I think it's important. But as far as this piece specifically, and the way that Joe is coming about it as a director, and the way we've talked about it, is I hope that people come away with it with an understanding of humanity.
Yeah.
That terrible situations happen, and terrible decisions are made, and we have more grit in us than what we know sometimes.
Hmm.
Paul's in a unwinnable situation
Hmm.
multiple times throughout this story. He has to use his wit to try to figure out a way out, and then as soon as he figures out a way out and then it gets blocked, okay, do I give up? Do I just kind of throw it in, or do I keep fighting for myself? Is there a reason to keep going?
Yeah.
Thankfully, reading the book originally, because I've read this, multiple times now. I have seen the movie as well, and then seeing the script, I was able to find that reason for Paul, that
Hmm.
he needs to get out of this cabin. He needs to get out of Colorado. He has a drive in him that he references, and it might not be obvious to a lot of people, but it's obvious to me as the actor of what he's trying to do.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's got to be at the forefront of all of it. And so I think that's it. Is I think as humans, I think we get in terrible situations, and hopefully, not as many of us have to get in those situations. You see them in the news. You see people that have been held captive. You see people that that have gone through these extreme circumstances. But the human spirit, to overcome adversity,
Hmm.
is an important story, and
Yeah.
so that's what I hope people come away with this. Is
Hmm.
that there's a drive in all of us, hopefully, to survive that fight or flight response. And I want to encourage more people. Man, when you believe in something, and it's to protect other people or protect yourself, man, I hope people fight. I hope that they find that in themselves.
Such a great message, and a great thing to take away from a show like Misery. I think people can see a title like that and think, oh, shock and awe, or just
Hmm.
horror for horror's sake. This is
Yep.
definitely, it feels to me, I haven't watched one rehearsal or anything, but it feels to me, uh, a descriptor of the show would be less horror and more almost like a character study. Almost like we're
Absolutely.
getting to be a fly on the wall of these two opposing personalities sort of fighting for what each of them wants,
Yeah, and
more
you
than
see it.
leaning into the horror of it all.
Yeah, and you see them have to basically take on different personalities based on what the other person's giving at that moment.
Mhm.
And so you see those switches in them, which manipulation or intentionality is a big part of it. And so it's really interesting. The fact that you use the word character study. Paul actually has a line where he talks about one of his books, and
Mhm.
he mentions it being a character study.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I think it is something that's really important for the audience to come away from. Joe put it this way: she wants people to see this as a psychological thriller. This
Yeah,
this isn't horror.
yeah,
While blood and violence might be a part of it, this is a thriller. This is two people that are in their heads trying to figure out how to then interact with this other person that through circumstances have been thrown together, and then try to find their best way through.
yeah.
So yeah, it's been a process for sure.
And talk to me about how physically demanding
Oh.
the role has been on both of you. I don't know how physically demanding it is on Kayla. I don't know as much about what she's going through, but talk to me a little bit about that for you
Yeah.
guys.
Let me tell you first of all, Kayla is a beast. Like the fact, so Paul, no surprise to anybody, you know, he is damaged to start the show. Definitely cannot move much. As a matter of fact, the only thing that he does have to move is his face and part of his upper body and a shoulder. That's basically it.
Oh,
Like it's only a little bit that he gets to interact with. And so the way that this show is done, the crew is never seen. We've got an amazing crew behind the scenes with Carla and Gabe and Jana, that are taking care of us, and Treva and Bob have come in now with some tech stuff. But Joe made the decision of every single thing that happens on that stage has to be done by the actors. And so Kayla, I think she comes in and out of the room no less than at least 20 times, 25 times. Her blocking is unbelievable. And the fact that she not only has the line load that she has, but she also has to carry the movement of the show to create the energy that's needed for it, is very impressive. As far as me, I enjoy physical work. That was one thing I really enjoyed about doing with Scanlon and Cuckoo's Nest, was trying to find the physicality behind him,
yeah.
and what made him tick. Literally and figuratively. But with Paul, it's a challenge because he is limited in his mobility. And so there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of, you know, things that are affecting him. And so trying to find a way through in a believable way, and still trying to be safe with some of these physical acts that have to happen.
Hmm.
Um, I'm a physical person, but there's so much of this show that I've never stretched certain muscles before.
Hmm.
You know, being in wheelchairs and having to go through that process, and getting in and out of a bed whenever you only have the use of part of your body, not having use of your legs, having crushed ankles, you know, all of that is physical. And so having to remember that every move that I make as an actor informs Paul as the character.
Right.
And I have to then react as Paul at how he would feel in that moment.
Hmm.
I was talking to my dad about this a couple weeks ago, and he asked me, he goes, so do you like it with your, you know, leg braces, or do you have like something that causes you pain? And it's like, no, I don't. Like, hopefully there's not many actors out there that go through that method of like, well, to act in pain, I need to be in pain.
Yeah.
Um, Discomfort's part of it. I mean,
Mhm.
there is discomfort. And so you can then, you know, blow that portion up to make it more believable for the audience to feel that discomfort and go, okay, this is pain. How do I act that out?
Mhm.
But yeah, there are moments that can cause that discomfort and that pressure, that then can stay with you. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've been sore
Yeah.
coming off of this run. You know, there are concerns that I have about a 9 show run with an audience, and having to go full out. Even though I want the audience to have the best potential show that they possibly can, I want to do that in the safest way possible because I'm 46 years old now.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
my body doesn't respond like it did back when I was in my 20s and
Right.
30s. And so I need to make sure that I protect myself, because while I love this theater so much, I don't want to have to, you know, hurt myself to do the
Yeah.
show that needs to be
Absolutely.
presented. And Joe is right there. She fully understands it. She's done many physical shows. You know, her Judy Garland was one of the best things I've seen on the stage in a
Yeah.
while. I was so impressed with her work in that. And so she understands it. And obviously having Steven there, you know, as our fight, you know, choreographer, he definitely understands it and helps to make sure
Yeah.
that we're protected. So
That is
yeah.
so great. Patrick, is there anything else you want anyone watching to know about Misery before we head out?
Not really. Like I really want them to come and just enjoy the show, enjoy the ride. Know that is a work. I mean, I talked to a few people who came last night that weren't going to be able to come to a show, and they got a chance to sit in and watch it. And I was like, hey, listen, how was it? Like, how was sitting there for an hour and 50 minutes of the show? And he said, I didn't feel it at all. Like
Great.
it moved. And so I want people to understand that. Definitely get your apple hobblers, you know, before you come in. Your cocktails. Great name, by the way. I appreciate that name that you came up with. So yeah, so come in with that. You know, hit the bathroom beforehand so you can
Yeah.
sit for that hour and 50 minutes. But I mean, people sit through movies all the time. You know,
Yeah.
there shouldn't be a reason why you can't sit through that. And our job is to make sure that you feel locked in that entire time. And you
Definitely.
do. So I know that we have not a lot of time left, but I got a question for you.
Okay.
I've actually might have a couple because I know it's just me and you hanging out talking for a second.
Okay.
But I got a chance to, because we're friends and I know your family.
Yeah.
ragtime is very important for you as a person.
Yeah.
And I'd like to kind of hear a little bit about that. But also, it's important now for your family in so many different ways because it's not just you that gets to be up there on stage performing. You
Yeah,
happen to have two other family members
that's
that are
right.
also going to be on that stage. So how do you feel about getting to share a stage with not only your husband but also your daughter,
Oh my gosh.
who's not making her ALT debut? She's actually been on the stage before.
Right. It's her main stage debut,
True.
it's a complete dream come true. I mean, it's I get it now. Any of you families who have experienced this, it to get to do something that you love to do with the people you love the most, what more could you ask for in a place that's so supportive and loving and in an environment that you want your children to be a part of, that you want them to experience, surrounded by other people you love and respect and people of all different backgrounds, who look different from you, and to give your kid that experience every single night, getting to watch other people and the different talents they bring to the table, and sort of expose them to this art form that I fell in love with so long ago as a little kid, and sort of I feel like I'm re-experiencing falling in love with the theater through my
Wow,
8-year-old. You know, it,
that's
it's
great.
it's sort of getting to revisit those initial feelings of awe and wonder watching. I remember just falling in love with the high school kids when I saw the high school kids doing what they were doing on stage, and just they might as well have been Diane Keaton up there, just like
Right.
I was just so in awe of what they were doing. And um to get to see that in my child watching these incredible performers, and then she gets to share the stage with them. And I so remember how I felt just getting to sort of be near them on stage. It was so exhilarating. But this ALT means so much to my family.
Mhm.
Having fallen in love with my husband, doing Les Mis in 2012, and now getting to be on staff here, and having Livy in the academy, and just for any one of us to get to do a show is such a cool experience and should never
Right.
be taken for granted, especially in a place like Amarillo, that we have an incredible institution like this here in our hometown. But to get to do it all together at the same time has been unbelievable. Every night is a different sort of thrill for us. I feel like I can speak for Brett saying that too.
Yeah, getting to hear from his perspective, going home and having those conversations as a family about this show that's important is
Yeah.
great. And I know that this show also has a tie. I mean, you've listened to that music for how long now? For a long
Since
time, right?
since it came out in
Yeah,
98. Yeah.
yeah. So it's really important that this show got picked and you guys got to audition for it. So
Yeah.
I love seeing that part of it. As someone who's got a chance to share the stage with both of my boys,
Mhm.
it's exactly like what you said. Like there's something magical about it,
Yeah.
that you get to play. As
Yeah.
adults, we forget that, finding ways through to still enjoy life and not just have that seriousness of it is
Mhm.
so important. And that's what the theater gets to give to those of us that want to, take this chance to be on stage, which I
Mhm.
encourage everybody to take that chance every once in a
Yeah.
while. Auditions are scary, but man, there's something to it that it just is freeing to be able to become something else for a
Just
moment.
to be vulnerable like that,
Yeah.
to, fall on your face in front of people. Like,
Yeah.
it's a great reminder for someone like me. I'm someone who can take myself way too seriously. Um,
Same.
yeah, I feel like we relate on that
We do.
aspect of our personalities. Yeah. And so I have to remind myself to, hey, slow down, slow down. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not that deep.
Yeah,
You're
this is
okay.
fun. It's not
Yeah.
life or death. It's
Right.
fun and it's okay to fail. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's important to fail because sometimes we don't put ourselves in that position where failure is a thing. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I love about the academy, just to kind of piggyback on our kids
Sure.
being a part of it, is that the academy is the safest place for kids to fail.
Yeah.
ALT is such a safe place for adults to fail.
Mhm.
And failure is a part of life. And so learning how to cope, learning how to go through disappointments, learning how to root on friends of yours that you also are in competition with to a degree for
Yeah.
parts, and then get to the other side of it and then see them in a show and encourage them. Like,
Mhm.
what a better microcosm of how community is supposed to be. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean we're not disappointed. It doesn't mean we don't have feelings,
Yeah.
but it means that we learn how to fight through our feelings, because being neighborly and being a part of a community and looking across the aisle at someone face to face and encouraging them
Mhm.
is important. And so ALT has provided that for so many people for so many years, that I am so proud to be a part of an organization like this, that we have that in Amarillo.
I to piggyback on what you're saying, I have to comment on that because Livy auditioned for Frozen and
Wow.
wanted to be young Anna so badly. And it was her first ALT heartbreak when
Oh,
she did not see her name on that cast list. And you can tell your kid all day long, that it's going to be okay and have those conversations, which of course we did. And she
mhm.
trusts us, we're in the theater too, so we understand how devastating that can be. But it was so cool for us to see her come and see the show and support her friends who did get cast. And she came back and saw both casts, saw both young
Wow.
ones, and then turned right around and auditioned for Ragtime and got her name on the cast list that time.
Yeah,
And I know that timing, that it doesn't always happen like that, but it was such a great learning opportunity for her to have
absolutely.
that heartbreak. And I told her, and I tell myself, when something doesn't work out, there is always a reason. There is always a reason. And you may not realize it right away within a month. It may be a year. There is something that's going to happen where you're going to look back and feel like, oh,
Yeah,
that was why. Even if it's seeing the show and seeing the person who did get cast do an unbelievable job. Sometimes that is like, ah, that was so good, you know?
yeah,
There's just so many different layers to the lessons you can learn at ALT, whether you're a kid or an adult. I feel like I learn lessons through my experience on staff and as a volunteer at ALT all the time.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know how much time we have left, but I do have one more question for you.
Sure.
How much time do we have left?
I mean, we can go until whenever, but
Me
probably
and you can yeah, we can talk for a long time. I
I
know
mean,
that.
people will just sign out, but it's
That's
fine.
fine. That's fine. So you've mentioned staff, and people that get to see you do Thursdays at 3, and they
Yeah.
see you around the theater. But I am curious, honestly, too, of what your role is as community, liaison person, how you involve yourself, what it is, because it's about a 2-year position. You've been there for about 2 years now. Is that right?
I'm into my 3rd year now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is your role besides just getting to be kind of a face on Thursdays at 3 and
Well,
and
at a nonprofit, you kind of wear lots of different hats. I mean, you can
mhm.
have a job description, but then, we all kind of help each other and you weave in and out of different responsibilities. But I do a lot of development type work too. That's kind of the bulk, I would say, of what I do. So one of my favorite things to do that takes up a lot of my time is grant hunting. I do
Oh, okay.
a lot of grant hunting. And I love doing that because I love to write. And I love ALT so much, and I believe in its mission so much that it is very easy for me. It's very hard work, but it's very easy for me to talk up ALT. It's
Right.
very easy for me to create narratives around whatever it is, whatever specific money I'm going for whatever specific project. It's very easy for me to get excited about writing a narrative around that because there's no better feeling than succeeding and bringing in money for a place you really believe in that deserves
Yeah.
every single dollar that they're getting. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of sort of talking about the theater within the community. I love advocating for our volunteers. I love hearing feedback. I send out, about this. I send out audition surveys to get feedback on how we're doing with auditions, and I'm always so grateful when people are really honest. And people are honest, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that. That's the only way that we're going to grow is if people tell us good and bad what's going on, how they're feeling, how we can improve this place. People will send suggestions to me of like, hey, have you thought about trying this or that? I also love coming up with campaigns, the Sponsor a Seat campaign. I'm so excited about that campaign. Different ideas to bring in money for the theater. The Princess Sing Along that we did during Frozen. That was such a fun project for me. Coming up with things like that to get the community who may not know that we're here. And there are so many people in our amazing community who don't know that ALT is here. I've had
Crazy.
several it's crazy. It's crazy that we've almost been here 100 years. And there are people who've lived here their whole lives and have never set foot in this theater. It is unacceptable to me. I don't want that to continue. I want people to know that we're here and what we're doing, and we're working really hard to expand our mission in the city, and to continue working to make our volunteer pool as diverse as our city is, which we're on a really great trajectory of doing that. And so there's just so many exciting things going on around here. And it's always so wonderful to me when we get a new person either in the theater to see a show or in the theater to audition for a show, and to watch them walk in.
Yeah, it's special.
Yeah. And fall in love with it. It's one of my very favorite things about working here, because we all know that feeling. Any one of us who's been around ALT for a long time, you remember when you were like, oh my gosh, this place is special.
Mm-hmm.
And
when was that for you?
I mean, for me, it was in 2007, was when I first auditioned here. And met Jason right away. And I'd known him through other friends kind of through the years.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd technically met before, but never, had a conversation really. And I mean, it took really after auditions, I thought, this place is so supportive and kind. And at that time I had graduated college. I'd worked professionally by that point. And so I'd been in a lot of spaces with a lot of different vibes, a lot of different, not always positive feelings when you enter a space, whether it's, just the classic competitive nature of what performing is. But ALT has a really special feeling around it. There's a really special energy around ALT where there's this love of the art form combined with the warmth of the people involved. And also just, living in this area, a lot of people are friendly and down to earth. And there's definitely that energy here. This sort of, what I really love about ALT is sort of the come as you are energy. It's just show up as you are. We accept you automatically.
You don't have to speak the language. You can learn the language, once you're in, but everyone's welcome. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Meredith gets it, as diverse as our city is. Yes. Jenny Stennis. Hi, Jenny. Jenny was in the woods with me in 2007. What a fun show that was. You can't see it, but there's a picture of that in my office right behind me that I love so much.
As it should be.
You are so sweet to ask me these questions. That is so nice of you.
No, I'm always curious. Like we've been friends for a long time, and me and you have never talked about your first experience, like what brought you in. Yeah. And so it's just me and you hanging out talking. There's people watching. I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a few people watching.
But no, you're such a good person to host this, and how you talk to people, and how engaging you are.
Oh no, you cut out. Right when you were complimenting me, you cut out. This is injustice. Oh no, he has fully cut out. I don't know if Patrick's cut out for you guys, but I've got radio silence on my end. Patrick, come back. Oh no. Okay, I think he might be gone. That is such a shame, because he was in the middle of complimenting me, and that is a complete travesty. I expect an email, Patrick. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching Thursdays at 3. I'm so sorry if you didn't get your tickets for Misery, because we are so excited about this show. Okay, Vanessa says he is Frozen. Okay, I'm so sad about that. But Patrick, you are fantastic. Break a leg on your preview night. Break legs to Kayla and Bobby and Joe and the entire production team. We're so proud of you. I cannot wait to see this show. You can try to get standby tickets if you want to. I can't guarantee anything. If you do that, then you would need to show up 30 minutes before. But again, this has been sold out for quite some time. But we're so, so proud of the team producing Misery. We're so excited for you guys. And make sure members to call or get online and get your tickets for Ragtime this Monday. They'll go on sale to the general public the following Monday. Thank you guys so much for watching Thursdays at 3, and you guys have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week.